missing someone.
Hey everybody, it's Nick at Bootstrap Farmer, and today we're going to talk about all of the stuff that we can use to plant in this automatic grow rack. So the most common thing that people do with these automatic grow racks are grow microgreens. So we're going to start with a shallow microgreen tray with holes. This is a bottom watering system, and for everything that we're going to talk about today, bottom watering simply means that as these flood trays fill up with water, the water is going to go through holes, or they're going to go through mesh, or any other type of device that's going to allow water within the pot, tray, or container to be uptaken by cocoa coir, soil or compost, hemp mats, felt mats, any type of substrate other than screens, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Also, unique to Bootstrap Farmer are perfectly sized grow mats for our 5x5 cells and rock wool slabs. So not only are the shallow microgreen trays, which are compatible with all the media that we just said, you can grow microgreens, pea, popcorn, and sunflower shoots. You would use the mesh if you had pea shoots, popcorn shoots, fodder, wheat berries, anything like that that you're going to use a bigger seed for. So these are 1/8 by 1/8 squares. So anything smaller than that, of course, is going to fall through. But any seed that you're going to pre-soak and that is larger than these holes is a good way to not only save on media, but give excellent drainage during the water cycles whenever it floods and drains. The deep 10-20 trays with holes are also a great foundational piece for some of the pots and other growing systems that we're fixing to get into. Beyond microgreens, the automatic grow rack is perfect for your propagation systems. This is a 200 cell tray. This is a 128 cell tray, as well as 72 and 50 count cell trays. They all simply fit inside the 10-20 deep and can be placed in there. And again, because the water is a flood and drain system behind us, it's going to go through the trays and into the media via the holes in the cell trays. And speaking of cell trays, here's our 32 insert. You can put it in a deep, but in the video that you're gonna see, it doesn't fully get to the water. So we do suggest using this, not with the deep tray, but with a shallow microgreen tray, so it sits right on the bottom. The 2.5-inch cups not only come in our traditional Bootstrap Farmer colors of pink and purple, orange, green, blue, also black, now in clear, which is perfect if you have kids or homeschools or any kind of classroom activities, and occasionally we'll do a custom color. These are from the Whispering Willow collections. Let's go ahead and jump right to the 5-inch pots. They do feature this insert, and let me show you the difference. Now, of course, you can totally use these pots without the insert, but let's say this is something you're going to take to the farmer's market, or you're in the hardening off process, you're going to move it in and out. It's just a little loose. You still have the ability to bottom water the tray, and the water is going to still water the plant through all of these holes, and then when it's time to move, no worry free. You can haul these things fully loaded out, no issue at all. Now let's talk about trialing different seed varieties. One way to make sure that you can pick the right varieties, whether that's radish, any type of microgreens, any type of shoots, even some single serving fodder for your chickens. These 5x5s, shallow with hole, inside a shallow microgreen tray with hole, allow you to quickly try out different varieties in less space and less time, or to give your chefs sample packs, or to give bite-sized menu options at the farmer's market. They're great for food truck sales and individual kitchen use inside the home. In addition to the shallow 5x5s, we also have deep 5x5s. Again, also with drainage holes. If we put them inside of a deep tray or a shallow tray, you still have all the benefits of the 5x5. It will require a little bit more dirt, but some varieties you might find need deeper roots. Through a little bit of trials, you can find which one of these 5x5s is going to best suit your needs. Moving past the 5x5s, we also have 10-10s. So either for quick trials, different maybe custom orders for chefs or your farmer's market needs. Again, you can use this with a 10-20 deep with holes or with mesh. Same thing with the shallow, holes, mesh. Same basic principles, uptaking holes on holes. Now, if you're wondering if these two things are compatible, it's really ill-advised to use a shallow inside of a deep for the simple fact that the water is going to have to come so far up. So we do recommend using shallow trays in shallows, in deeps. If you have a small garden or want to direct sow into something that you're not going to have to up pot, depending on your situation, you can use these 6x6 cells. They do have air-pruned technology. They have a large hole to help you get the plants out. You can use this either with a mesh or a shallow microgreen tray with holes. Doesn't matter. The process and the framework of water coming up from the bottom. The reason bottom watering is so important at this stage, if the plants are fully developed, is you don't want to get a bunch of water on the leaves. So that uptake lets the roots get the water that they need, transpire through the plant, no damage to the leaves, no transmission of fungus. In addition to traditional cell trays, you well know that we have air-pruned technology trays, which allow air to prune the roots as they come through these slits. We feature a large hole to help get out the plugs again. Pretty much everything with Bootstrap Farmer is modular in that you can use the same 1020 air-pruned tray either inside a deep or inside of a shallow tray. You can both use the mesh or the trays with holes. They all serve the same function. I personally like it with the shallow lip. That way it's just easier to get up in there and kind of check on your roots as you go along. Let's see what that looks like. Here's an air-pruned tray with Tropicana lettuce. So these things are kind of beyond ready to transplant. But you can see if I put them in the shallow, as they're bottom watered, the roots uptake the water, and I can come in and easily lift this for inspection. But at the same time, the deep cell tray still does the same function, not that much more difficult, it's just a personal preference. And just like all the other Bootstrap Farmer lines, the air-pruned trays come in multiple colors, either for farm, organization, or farmer's market branding. Now I want to talk about one of the most overlooked items that Bootstrap Farmer has, and this is something that I used personally on my food truck back on the day for cut and come again herbs that I could use with net pots. So on my food truck, we were growing all these different herbs and then we were switching them in and out. This is also applicable to chef sales or to farmer's market sales, or a lot of people are using these for succulent propagation. They do, of course, work best in the deep 1020s, either with holes or with mesh. Again, bottom watering, flood and drain. This is the 32 count cell net pot holder. It's placed inside of a 1020. You'll notice it has these little ears for the corners to keep it steady. This one, because there's so much extra weight, we did design these two little holders for the middle to kind of help hold it up. And that's what it looks like with the holes. This is the 18 count net pot holder. Again, mesh is fine, deep is fine, and again, it has the little ears for the corners. And you simply place it on there. It holds quite a bit of weight. I use 32 count for cut and come again herbs, edible flowers, succulents, anything that you can kind of grow up and in a bunch. So this would also be good for super baby greens, Asian greens, leeks, that type of thing. But you can see how tight that is, so it's gonna have to come up. The 18 count, depending on what you're wanting to do, this is super custom to either orders or new products. You could do small bunching heads. You can do small heads of lettuce, baby leaf bunches. This would be great for smaller baby cut romaine. Herbs, again, is a fantastic option for this. Maybe think about thyme or oregano that bunches out a little bit. Just gives you a little bit more space. This honestly is my favorite thing, and I encourage you to take a look at it and experiment with it. Okay, so everything we just showed you, we had you putting all these different configurations inside of a tray. Two reasons. One, it's much easier to move a lot of things in one tray in and out of here instead of nitpicking little tiny things. But if you're asking, do you have to have a bottom tray? Absolutely not. It's your farm, it's your decision, you're in charge, you do what you want. They can all certainly be placed directly in the flood table, still going to uptake water, but what you may find is as this is coming up, especially for the smaller pots, they'll jostle around a little bit. So not only is the tray kind of sub-containing within the flood tray as it's filling up and draining and doing all that, but it's much easier to clean a single tray, which is gonna, I would say, gather most of the debris and little bits of any type of media that you use versus cleaning this and then cleaning that, and then cleaning this. So not only is it an efficiency of scale of moving everything on 110/20, but it keeps your maintenance down. Okay, let's talk about humidity domes and how it's used inside of the grow rack. We're known for a lot of different humidity dome configurations. This is a 10-10, so I'm just gonna kind of start there because it was first up. Now, if you have a 5-tier rack, of course, it's not going to fit. The workaround would be if you just have started your seeds, you can place that in there. Put the humidity dome on there. It fits fine. You'll just have to reverse that process, taking it off. And I wouldn't worry about, and I can already hear, well, it's going to tear up the leaves when I do that. This humidity dome just needs to be on until you first see the germination start. So if you're keeping that dome on for anything longer than that, not only are you going to damage the leaves, but it's not necessary and it's almost creating too much humidity. It's just to up the temperature and the humidity a little bit during germination. So after a couple of days, pop these guys off. We also have 5x5 humidity domes, which is a great way to not only get the benefits of using humidity dome, but this nice little package to your farmer's market if you're going to do some specialty produce. The tall and the short will also fit interchangeably with the tall and the short domes, and can either go in a shallow tray or a deep tray. We also feature short domes in both clear and a blackout option that can interchangeably fit on the deep trays or the shallow trays and work with a variety of the combinations that we have talked about earlier. And of course, we also have the tall domes, both in a clear and in a blackout with handles. And just like the 5x5s, not only is it a great way to help store the seeds, but to help transplant some of your crops during market or deliveries. Okay, let's talk about some media options. What you have to think about is your maintenance on the rack. Some people insist on soil, some people like to grow soilless. The choice is completely yours. The rack can take it either way. We have pre-screens at the drain and the fill line to keep it out of the system for larger particles. We also have a mesh filter down at the bottom that you can unscrew, change out, to kind of help keep your system clean. This is Pro Mix, one of the more popular mixes out there. You can see all these little pieces. Now again, this is very dry. Once it's compacted, it's not going to spill out. But you can see all of these fines that are eventually going to work their way out just in normal use into the system. It's not a bad thing, but this is probably going to be one of the more highly have to be maintained for your flood trays as far as media goes. Next is cocoa coir. This one has been wetted down, so you can see it kind of sticking together a little bit better, but even as I squeeze it and kind of brush the stuff off my hand, those little particulates are going to still, as the water comes and goes, kind of flush themselves out. A little less maintenance, still a great option. Probably the cleanest one is going to be rock wool. Before I put that in there, take a look at that tray, super clean. This is an unused tray. As we put this rock wool in there, kind of knock it around a bit. It's just a minute, just a little bit amount of dust. Now, Bootstrap Farmer is very happy to have TerraFiber hemp grow mats, especially for the microgreens. And as we put those in there, bang it around, just a little bit, just a small, tiny degree of a little bit of hemp left over. So these are things that may or may not leave the tray during regular flood and drain operations, float about the water, most likely get caught inside of the screens. So just like anything else in farming, whether it's a variety of plant, a variety of grow system, when you work best during the day, the type of variety of media that you use, it's totally your choice. All of it is highly compatible with not only the Bootstrap Farmer trays, but the automatic grow rack. All right, so check out this mess we made. Look at all these trays that are not only compatible with each other, but with the automated grow rack. It's going to be a little trial and error on your side, but through that, you're going to find the grow system that works best for you and your operation. Please have a great season. If you have any questions, enter them in the comments below. Subscribe. We got a lot of new videos coming out. We'd love to hear from you. We're open 7 days a week.